This happened 3 years ago when I was driving alone through a remote part of Arizona. It was one of those roads that barely shows up on a map, just a thin line cutting through miles of empty desert. No streetlights, no houses, nothing but sand, rocks, and darkness stretching in every direction. I had been driving for hours trying to make it to the next town before sunrise. My phone had no signal. The radio barely worked, just static most of the time. Around 2:30 in the morning, I started feeling off, like something wasn't right. At first, I thought it was just the isolation. When you're alone out there long enough, your mind starts playing tricks on you. But then I noticed something strange. There was a light in the distance. Not a car, not a building, just a single dim light sitting out in the desert, far from the road. It didn't move, it just stayed there. I kept driving, trying to ignore it, but the longer I looked at it, the more it felt like it was watching me. I know how that sounds, but it's the only way I can describe it. Then something even stranger happened. My radio suddenly turned on, full volume, static blasting through the speakers. I reached to turn it off, and that's when I heard it. A voice, faint at first, barely understandable. Help. I froze. I turned the volume up slowly. The static cleared just enough to hear it again. Please, help me. It sounded like a woman. Weak, desperate, coming through the radio. I looked around. There was no one out there. No cars, no buildings, just empty desert. The voice came again. Please, I'm out here. And then, follow the light. My eyes went back to that distant glow in the desert. My stomach tightened. Every instinct in my body told me not to listen. But the voice sounded so real, so human, so desperate. I slowed the car, pulled over, and just sat there for a moment, thinking. Then, I did something I still regret. I turned off the road and drove into the desert. At first, it was manageable. The ground was flat enough for the car. The light stayed ahead of me, guiding the way. Every time I got closer, it seemed to move just a little further, like it was leading me somewhere. After about 10 minutes, the terrain started getting rough, rocks, uneven ground. But I kept going, because the voice wouldn't stop. Almost there. Please hurry. It sounded closer now, like she was just ahead. Then suddenly, the light stopped moving. It just hovered in place, right in front of me. I stopped the car, turned off the engine. The desert went completely silent. No wind, no sound, just me and that light. I stepped out of the car. The air felt colder than it should have been. I called out, "Hello?" No response. The light flickered slightly. Then slowly, it began to fade. My heart started pounding. "Hello?" I called again, louder this time. Still nothing. And then, I heard it. Not from the radio, not from the distance, but from right behind me. "Why did you stop?" The voice was no longer weak, no longer desperate. It was calm, clear, and right next to my ear. I turned around instantly. There was no one there, but something felt wrong, very wrong. I got back into the car as fast as I could, locked the doors, tried to start the engine. It wouldn't turn over. The headlights flickered, then went completely dark. For a few seconds, I was sitting in total darkness, and then I saw it. In the reflection of the windshield, something standing behind the car, tall, unnaturally tall, its shape barely visible in the darkness, but its head tilted at an angle that didn't look human. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Then slowly, it started walking toward the car. Not fast, not slow, just steady, deliberate, like it knew I couldn't escape. I turned the key again. The engine struggled, then finally started. The headlights came back on, and whatever was behind the car was gone. I didn't look back. I just drove as fast as the car would go. I didn't stop until I reached the highway again. By the time I got there, the sun was starting to rise. Everything looked normal, like nothing had happened. But when I finally checked my car later that day, I noticed something I can't explain. All along the sides of the vehicle, there were handprints. Not dust, not dirt, burn marks, like something had pressed its hands against the metal and left them there. The worst part? There were too many to count, and they weren't all the same size. Some were small, almost like a child's. Others were long and distorted, like whatever made them was never human. I never drive through the desert at night anymore, because sometimes the desert doesn't want you to pass through. Sometimes it wants you to follow it, and if you do, you might not come back. This happened during a solo drive I took across Arizona. I was trying to cut time by taking a lesser-known desert road late at night. Big mistake. At first, everything was normal. Just a long, empty road stretching through the desert. No lights, no cars, no signs of life anywhere. It was around 2 a.m. when I realized something was off. I had been driving straight for what felt like a long time. Too long. So I checked the GPS. It showed the same thing it had been showing for the last 10 minutes. A straight road, no turns, no intersections, but the distance to my destination wasn't changing at all. I frowned and kept driving, thinking maybe the signal was glitching. Then I noticed something else, a road sign on the side, old, rusted. It read, "Next town, 42 miles. I didn't think much of it, until about 10 minutes later, I saw the exact same sign again. Same rust, same position, same number, 42 miles. That's when I started to feel uneasy. I kept driving. Another 10 minutes passed, and then the sign appeared again. Next town, 42 miles. This time, I slowed down. Something wasn't right. I looked around more carefully. The desert looked exactly the same in every direction, like I wasn't moving at all. That's when my radio suddenly turned on. Loud static filled the car. I reached to turn it off, but then I heard a voice. Low, calm. "Turn around." I froze. The voice repeated, "Turn around, now." I looked in the rearview mirror. The road behind me was empty, but something felt wrong, like something was back there, watching, waiting. I ignored the voice and kept driving forward. I didn't want to panic, didn't want to lose control, but then my headlights flickered, just for a second, and in that second, I saw something standing in the road ahead. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded slightly. When the headlights stabilized again, the road was empty. Nothing there. My heart was pounding now. I checked the mirrors again, and that's when I saw it. Something standing far behind my car, in the middle of the road, too far to see clearly, but tall, too tall, and completely still. I pressed the gas and drove faster. I didn't care about the road anymore. I just wanted out. But no matter how long I drove, the surroundings didn't change. Same road, same desert, same darkness. Then the radio came back on. No static this time, just the voice. Closer, clearer. "You passed it." I gripped the wheel tighter. "What?" I said out loud, even though I knew it wouldn't answer. "You were supposed to turn around." My chest tightened. I looked at the rearview mirror again. The figure behind me was closer now, much closer, but I hadn't seen it move. It was just There, standing in the same position, facing my car. Then suddenly, my engine died. The car rolled to a slow stop. Everything went silent. No lights, no sound, just darkness. I tried starting the engine again. Nothing. I looked up and saw it. Standing right in front of the car now. Close enough to see its outline. Its body looked wrong. Too thin, too long. Its arms hung almost to its knees, and its head tilted at an unnatural angle, like it was studying me. I couldn't see its face, just darkness where it should be. Then it moved, slowly, walking toward the driver's side. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. It stopped right next to the window and leaned down slightly, like it was trying to look inside. Then the voice came again, but this time, it wasn't from the radio. It was right outside the glass. You should have turned around. The engine suddenly roared back to life. The headlights turned on, and the thing was gone. Completely gone. I didn't waste a second. I floored the gas and kept driving. After what felt like forever, I finally saw something different. A real road sign. New, clean. Next town. 5 miles. I almost cried. I kept driving until I reached that town. Real buildings, real lights, real people. I didn't stop shaking for hours. The next day, I checked my dashcam footage, hoping to understand what happened, but the video only made it worse. For most of the drive, the road looked normal, empty, nothing unusual. But near the end, right before my car stopped, the camera caught something. In the reflection of the side window, something walking alongside the car, keeping pace with it, for miles, the entire time, which means it was never behind me. It was always right next to me, just outside the light, waiting for me to make the wrong turn.